Hey guys, this is me, Kevin Murphy, on my channel called Narcissistic Abuse, Learning Who I Am Again. In this video, I'm going to talk about how the narcissist fails to take responsibility for their own behavior and for their own actions. So, as I said in the last video, I'm going to use a situation that I was in just recently last fall to talk about my narcissistic ex-roommate. So, I decided to move into this house in the state that I'm living in now, to be closer to work. The guy who actually owned the house was a mutual friend of my friend. He me and the landlord at the time had a mutual friend who just moved out of the house because he just got married last September. And so I felt that this was a perfect time to take this, this was a perfect opportunity because, my friends knew the landlord and, my friend lived in the house and he had a pretty decent experience in the house and everything. And so I thought that this would be a wonderful opportunity. So the narcissist roommate and I moved in on the same day. The house was actually empty. Everybody who once lived in that house had moved out. And, I thought that, this would, the narcissist seemed to be really nice. He and his brother came and moved, helped, the narcissist's brother helped him move into the house. And, at first, like the first couple of days we were getting to know each other, the narcissist had told me that he was with someone. He had a girlfriend. He told me that this girlfriend was really, 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 really smart. The girlfriend was in forensic science or forensic chemistry or something like that, but she had her own place, like she had her own home. And she was doing really well for herself at 25 years old. And so we continued to get to know each other the first couple of days of living in the house, and everything seemed to be pretty good. Like he seemed like he was very talkative. The narcissist was very kind when it came to listening and things like that. And I would say probably within the first 5 days, like the fifth day of us living in the house together, he comes home and he tells me that his girlfriend broke up with him. And so during the time he was explaining to me about what happened with he and his girlfriend, he was pretty much blaming her for everything. So he took zero responsibility for what went wrong in the relationship. He was telling me all of her personal inadequacies, all of her personal insecurities, things that he was telling me that she's a coward and she's this and she's that, and again taking no responsibility, meaning maybe I did this to her, or maybe I had a problem, or something went wrong in the relationship, because relationships are two-way streets. Everybody has a responsibility in the relationship. But a narcissist doesn't feel that way. The narcissist feels that it's all you. It's your fault. If the relationship goes south, then it's all about it's your fault. So I saw this as a red flag. I'm thinking to myself, like, um, yeah, like I'm sure that the relationship didn't go south all because of her. So anyway, as weeks started going past, I started noticing that he was increasingly drinking a lot, like drinking Hennessy, whiskey, 40s, things like that. And within the first week of us living in the house together, he was passed out drunk. Passed out drunk in his room, had all the doors open, back door was open, front door was unlocked, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And so I come and at first I said I didn't say anything, which was my bad, but I didn't say anything to him about him being drunk like that. And I mean, he left everything open. That was the first time. Within the next week, he did it again, leaving passing out drunk, leaving the doors open, things like that. And that was one thing about the narcissist. Whenever he would take one drink, he was never able to stop. And I finally said something to him about him leaving the doors open and, getting drunk like that. And, I mean, it was dangerous. Leaving the doors open and you upstairs getting drunk or passed out drunk. I'm not home, and everything is open. And so his response to me saying something to him about leaving the doors open and being drunk like that in the house, passed out, his response was, "Well, it was my girlfriend's fault. My girlfriend broke up with me, and my girlfriend. I mean, no responsibility. Instead of just saying, I should not have left the doors open. I should not have gotten so drunk to the point where I'm putting myself in danger and my roommate in danger, and then just leaving it at that." But the narcissist always has to have an excuse for why they do the things that they do. And so me and this narcissist had different political views, and I'm not going to go into specifics about what political views it was or who was for what, but our political views were entirely different. And the narcissist would watch um, political TV 24/7. That's all he watched on TV. And we only had one main TV downstairs in the living room, and he pretty much dominated the living room. And so at the time, I really didn't care because I wasn't a huge TV watcher at the time, and a lot of the programs that I did watch, they were not programmed on the landlord's TV because the bill was in the landlord's name. And so the narcissist would give his 2 cents about what political views he had, and the narcissist would try to somehow get me to convert to his way of thinking. And if I disagreed with the narcissist, which 9 times out of 10 I did, the narcissist would sit there and make me feel like I was an idiot, or make me feel like I was dumb because I didn't agree with some of the things that he was saying. And then it would turn into a huge debate. Well, I feel that so and so and so is this, or I feel that so and so does that. And for me, I don't care. And the narcissist would, and that's what a narcissistic people do. They'll ask you for your opinion, and then once you give them their opinion, then they'll sit there and they'll fight against you about what your opinion is. And that's pretty much what was happening. Like, the narcissist and I would be watching TV together, and he would ask me a question about a certain political view or a certain political topic, and I wouldn't bring it up, the narcissist would. And we would discuss it and things like that, and then he would start just going nuts and talking about, well, I don't know why you think that way. That's stupid. That's so and so and so. It's my opinion. How dare you call my opinion stupid? So, I mean, this continued throughout the duration of me living in that house. And the narcissist would do weird, very weird things. I remember I was in the common area doing my homework, and the narcissist grabs a hunting knife from out of his room. And he comes downstairs, he grabs one of my old empty cereal boxes, and he starts cutting the cereal box with the hunting knife, and starts hysterically laughing as he's cutting my empty cereal box with a hunting knife. And so I ask him, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun! I'm cutting the box, and I'm getting such a rush out of cutting the box." And I'm like, "What the, like, that's not normal." And so he gives me the hunting knife and the box, and asked me to start cutting the box with him. And I told him, "Dude, no, I'm not into that, and I'm not interested in cutting boxes or anything like that." And so, you know, I came home one day from work and I saw four hunting knives sitting right by him on the couch while he was watching his little political news TV. And he's just cutting and laughing and things like that. And so at this point, I'm like freaked out by his behavior and increasing, like, again, as a codependent, and you don't want to say I'd started to notice a lot of how this behavior was familiar. The narcissistic behavior, the psychopathic behavior was familiar. And as a codependent, we tend to put up with it because that's what we're trained to do. We tend to just put up with things that are inappropriate, and his behavior it was not only inappropriate, but it was very dangerous. So, he stopped playing with the knives for maybe about 2 weeks. He wasn't playing with knives or anything like that, but he told me that he loves playing with knives like girls like playing with dolls. And I thought that was really weird. And about 2 weeks, he didn't play with knives or anything like that. I would say probably around Thanksgiving. I come home from being with my, I was in New Jersey for the holidays, and I come back home, and he's chopping wood with he has this little hatchet axe. And, I figure, he's chopping wood with the axe, and we had a huge fire pit in the back. Like the backyard where I lived at the time was awesome. Like the landlord had that backyard hooked up and landscaped really nice. And we were able to see other people on the main drag in the city that we lived in. And it was great. And we had the fire pit in the back where we were able to just sit and watch a fire and things like that. So the narcissist decided that he wanted to start a fire, and the narcissist and I were out there, talking and hanging out and whatever. And so about 2 or 3 days later, the narcissist starts telling me that he's seeing a girl, that he's talking to a girl that from a dating website. And so I asked him, "How long have you been talking to this girl?" And he said, "Oh, I've been talking to this girl for about a month and a half." Now, mind you, the the ex broke up with him a month and a half ago at this point. And he started he put himself online and started talking to this girl that he from the internet. And so I asked the narcissist, I said, "How long has it been since your girlfriend broke up with you that you started, talking to this girl?" And he told me, like, within a week. And his response was, "She needs to be replaced. The ex-girlfriend needs to be replaced." And I mean, my narcdar was like blaring. Like, I was like, "Holy shit. Like, I cannot believe that this is happening." And so he continues to tell me about, the girl and things like that, and how he was planning on meeting her and whatnot. And so, to make a long story short, he was telling me that he was going to go on a first date with this girl, and that he intended to bring the girl home on the first date. First date. And so I didn't say anything. And so at that night, I went out myself. So nobody was home. And it was a Thursday evening. And I come home, and we both got home at the same time. But the girl didn't come with him, which I kind of figured if the girl had an ounce of self-respect, she probably would not go home with him on the first date. Just saying. But he comes home and grabs a 40 bottle and he starts chugging the 40, the beer down and whatever. And then he grabs an axe, the axe that he was cutting the wood with, and he starts brandishing the axe. He's playing with the axe, like the blade of the axe is at the palm of his hand, and he's wiping the axe down and rubbing the blade of the axe along the palm of his hand. I can't fully demonstrate because I'm holding the recorder in my other hand. So I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you playing with the axe? And he said that he was getting a sensation playing with the axe. And he was complaining at the fact that the girl wouldn't come home with him and this, that, and the other. And so he continued to try to play with the axe. I would take the axe and I would hide it away. And at this point, he was very, 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 very drunk again. And so it went from him playing with a knife to him playing with an axe. And I really feel that he was pissed off because of the fact that the girl would not come home with him. And so his response to me was, I got a date with someone else. So that's that narcissistic supply. Well, she's not giving me narcissistic supply and giving me what I want, so I'm going to go and get it from someone else. And so that weekend, his old roommate came over, and again, I went out more. I'm not a going out kind of person, but when I was living in that house, I was going out more times than I ever have in my entire life. And the narcissist had invited his ex roommate over, and he started. The roommate didn't. I didn't see the ex roommate, the narcissist's ex roommate, until I got home from where I was at, and so the narcissist goes and like vodka bottles are open and emptied, 40 bottles are open and emptied, all kinds of stuff. And so the narcissist comes out of the shadows as I'm meeting his ex-roommate, and he starts brandishing the axe again and waving the axe around like he's in a freaking Western film. And again, I'm taking the axe from him and I'm putting it away, trying to signify that I don't care for this kind of behavior in this house. And so this narcissist was also a white guy. And the reason why I say that is because this narcissist would say things about black people that was highly inappropriate. He would show me videos on YouTube called the Gangster Party Line, and he would use the N-word quite a bit, but then he would say, "I'm not racist." Again, not taking responsibility for your behavior. Like, you're doing racist things by showing me stereotypes of other black people, and you're using the N-word while you're showing me this stuff, but you're not a racist person. So what are you? I mean, seriously. So one evening I come home and I told the narcissist that I don't wish, I feel uncomfortable with you playing with the knife and the axe downstairs in the common area. Is it possible that you can take if you want to play with the axe and the knife in your bedroom, that's totally fine. But I feel very uncomfortable with you playing with the axe and the knife downstairs in the common area, especially when you've been doing a lot of drinking. And that's my boundary. And narcissistic people hate boundaries. So the narcissist started arguing with me and told me that I can't tell him what to do, that he doesn't see a problem with him playing with an axe and a knife, which I don't know how he doesn't see that this behavior is an issue. And I also told him that I don't want him, saying things about black folks in a way that was stereotypical or inappropriate. And so his response to me was, I just, I can agree to not play with the knife and the axe today, but, I don't know if I can agree with that altogether. So the narcissist, I got pissed off. And I stormed off and I went in my room and I slammed the door. So the narcissist saw that I was upset. He leaves a note into the in the hallway saying that, he's willing to talk and things like that. So I'm thinking that, geez, he's finally come to his senses. He has realized that, he was a jerk, and that he wants to work this out. So when I responded to the note and I told him that, I'm willing to talk this out and work this out and whatever, he says, I don't want to talk to you. And he slams the door in my face and told me that I need to drop it and I need to let it go. So I told him that, are you going to stop playing with the knives and the axe downstairs in the living room? He told me that he's not going to answer me. And that's what they do. They don't like anybody standing up to them. They don't like anybody setting boundaries. And this was not an unreasonable request. This was not something that, that it wasn't like I was telling him, you can't have any company or you can't do this or whatever. I just said, I don't feel comfortable with you playing with you being drunk, playing with axes and knives downstairs in the common area. But I was the villain because of the fact that I asked him and requested that. So we get into this huge argument, and I started shouting at him, and and I lost it. I lost my temper. And that's another thing the narcissists will do, is they use what they call a bait switch tactic. And this is something that my dad has done to me, where they will piss you off so freaking bad to where you will react. And they call that the bait switch. And then it's no longer about the original issue. It's about you going off on them. So what happened was I went off on him because he was invalidating my boundary and he was invalidating my concern. And after me going off, it was no longer about him playing with knives and axes in the living room. It's now about me going off on him and losing my temper. So that was his way of avoiding accountability. That was his way of not taking responsibility for his actions and putting me and himself in danger. So I got my stuff and I said, this isn't working out, and I left. I moved out. I moved about 6 blocks away from that house, and I'm still in the same city, but I got out of there. And it really hurt me financially. It was a huge financial hit. I was going to work every day, very sad, very depressed, and very angry. But I am going to tell you this. No matter how much the narcissist cost you, no matter how much money, extra money you might have to pay in a month in rent, if you have an opportunity to get the hell away from a narcissist, do it. Do it. It doesn't matter how much money it doesn't matter. Your safety and your mental health is more important than you trying to save a few dollars. I could have had a lot of money still in my savings account, right now. And I know that my God provides for me. I know that it's not my job that provides for me. It's not the narcissist that provides for me. It is God that provides for me. And it's just like I said in a previous videos, that God does not want us to be in a place where we're being abused and being mistreated, or even putting ourselves in danger. And so God provided for me in a way that was awesome. I was able to move all my stuff by myself. He gave me the strength to get everything out of that house and to move everything into my apartment without any problem. And he provided me with a savings account. I had enough money in my savings account to move. And my savings account is slowly building back up to where it once was. And sometimes you have to take that loss. Sometimes you have to take that hit, because you stay in an abusive relationship but having lots of savings in your money in your savings account is very foolish and is very dangerous. Sometimes you have to let go and take that sacrifice in order to have that, in order to feel that sense of peace. And I'm telling you, I have been in my new place for a little over a month now, and I couldn't be any more happier. I have my own space. I don't have to come home and worry about anybody brandishing a knife or brandishing an axe. I don't have to worry about my doors and my windows and things being left unattended when I'm not home because the narcissist is drunk, passed out someplace. I don't have to engage in political debates with this person anymore. I don't have this person in my life anymore, and I'm so thankful to God that he was able to rescue me out of that situation. And I'm even more thankful to God that he gave me the wisdom and gave me the ability to see that this was a toxic relationship and this was a toxic situation, because the old codependent Kevin would have still been in that house, would have still stayed in that situation, and would have made excuses for the narcissist for his behavior and for the things that he was doing. And I said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. It is time for me to empower myself. And it's this situation that gave me the strength and the independence to make this channel and to really to speak to those who are currently in a situation similar to mine, and or was in a situation that was similar to mine. And I thought that, after the situation was over, I felt a bit depressed. I felt like I lost a lot of support. I felt like I lost a lot of friends. I felt like I was isolating myself. I was blaming myself because, again, that's what I was trained to do. And know that it's not your fault. And I don't wish my ex narcissistic roommate any ill will. I still pray for him. I wish him well, and I hope that he gets some help. And I hope that he will see his behavior as being dangerous and destructive, not only to the people around him, but to himself. So, this is it. This is my video on the narcissistic roommate. Oh, excuse me. I have bad indigestion. Please stay tuned for more videos as I'm going to continue to update them. Please subscribe. Please, 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 please subscribe to my channel, Kevin Murphy, Narcissistic Abuse, Learning Who I Am Again. And know that you are worth it. Know that God loves you, and that you are responsible for your own behavior and for your own decisions. And that God will never steer you in the wrong way. So don't steer yourself in the wrong way. So please stay tuned for more videos. I am Kevin Murphy, and I will see you next time. Bye.